All right, we have Coach Mike Tomlin from our Week 6 win versus the Cleveland Browns at home. That is 22 straight home games in the regular season that we have beaten Cleveland. There is obviously a playoff game that Browns fans will continue to bring up for the next 50 years because that's all they have to be happy about. But let's hear what Coach had to say.
Man, it's great to win in the North. Good start for us in divisional play. I appreciate how the guys came off the bye. We didn't warm up to it. We had certain agendas that we thought were critical to making this game unfold the way we desired for it to unfold. We thought they'd play behind their runner. We wanted to do a good job of minimizing him, and I think we did that. When you do that, then you're in favorable one-dimensional passing circumstances for your defense, and I think that was reflected in the pressure that we were able to put on the quarterback. On the other side of the ball, we were able to stay on schedule and minimize those one-dimensional moments to minimize Myles Garrett's impact on the game. And so, like some of those agendas, man, that we had, we were able to get accomplished, and I think that's why we engineered victory. One area where we certainly fell short is the penalty component. We scout crews just like we scout teams. We know this crew throws a lot of penalties, and we dropped the ball in terms of our preparedness there. I'll accept responsibility for that. We got to be better. You can't beat anybody when you're beating yourself. And I just felt like at times we did that today. And so we got to own that. We got a short week. We're chasing another AFC North pelt here in a short number of days, and so we respect the process. We got to work fast here in preparation for Thursday night. Got some bumps and bruises associated with play. The only one that's worth mentioning of any significance is Miles Killebrew. He's got a significant knee injury, and I'll have more updates for you, I'm sure, in the not-too-distant future about the details of that. Questions?
Aside from those kind of couple leaky moments in Ireland, what's been the difference with your defense the last 2 weeks with the pressure and everything?
I just think we're getting a full complement of our weapons back, you know. In Ireland, man, we got 25 back. This week we got 56 back, 24 back.
Yep.
Everybody goes through injuries. I'm not seeking comfort in the lack of availability, but if you're asking me why is it starting to look the way that we desire, we got a full complement of talent. And when we put this band together, we feel like we can do things like you saw today.
Tuesday, Mike, you mentioned how good Dylan Gabriel is at processing. I think you called it his superpower. What did you guys do to be kryptonite to that?
You know, we did a nice job with our pre-snap looks, but I think that's aided again by having, our secondary intact. And some of the things that we developed in Latrobe, man, you're able to execute when you got a full complement of guys. I thought they did a nice job with their pre-snap disguise. They didn't allow him to digest information prior to getting the ball in his hands, and that's the first component of slowing down the processing.
What led to some of the chunk plays in the passing game, and how impactful was that for you guys offensively?
I thought we ran the ball effectively. I think when you run the ball effectively, it tees up some of the action, the play action, and most of our chunks were born out of run action, and so it's really simple as that.
This run game has had now 2 100-yard rushing games. Just how much consistency have you seen them build over these last stretch here?
It's the overall trajectory of it has been what we desired. I've been talking about that, and we certainly start to see the result of that. But we got to keep rolling.
You see that the fact that Aaron Rodgers is a pretty grizzled vet, but do you think he's getting more comfortable with him molding the offense?
I certainly think that's a reasonable expectation with more exposure, whether you're young or old, experienced or inexperienced, particularly this collective journey that we're on. The more that you get an opportunity to play, certainly there's more comfort there.
Did you have Ramsey on any kind of pitch count? We're just being cautious with him, or just circumstantial when he came out?
We did, but we certainly wanted to make sure that he could impact the game. I cannot say enough about Jalen Ramsey, guys. This guy plays outside corner. He plays nickel. He plays free safety. He is exactly what we hoped he would be, and certainly he was significant today.
What's your thoughts on the performance of Darnell Washington today?
We've been very transparent about Darnell's role. We play 4-3 teams, man. We need a guy that looks like those 4-3 ends. It's a major component of our run game. Can't say enough about his efforts, and also Spencer Anderson. their weight classes in combat sports for a reason. They got big people out in that C and D gap area, and so do we when we deploy those two guys, and it really gives us a fighting chance.
Caleb Johnson saw a lot more playing time today. Can you talk about his play, more especially a young guy coming back after the mistake he made?
I don't want to get into all of that, man. He's a young guy. He's getting better. He's earning opportunities. There's a reasonable expectation for him to get better.
Anyone else? Mike, you mentioned Ramsey, but what kind of level is Herbig playing at for you right now?
He's playing at a pretty high level. That's why I introduced 12 defenders today.
All right. So when Coach said he introduced 12 defenders today, as far as home games go, you alternate who you introduce in the beginning. So in the first home game versus Seattle, they decided to do the offense because it was Aaron's first home game in Pittsburgh. It was DK's first home game in Pittsburgh. They wanted those guys to be out for the first one. So now that you're in Pittsburgh for your second true home game, because yes, while Dublin was a home game, it really wasn't. So now you introduce the defense. And they introduced 12 guys. Normally you just do your 11 for your starting 11. And they did 12 for Herbig as well as like Alex and TJ. And Herbig is he's playing amazing football. He really is. And I know people are saying that, they should trade Alex and just make Nick the full-time starter. And I don't necessarily disagree with that, but they're talking about doing it like now, right? Whereas I'm not going to do it now because we have amazing depth at that position right now. And I would really hate to see someone get hurt, knock on wood, someone get hurt, and now you're like, crap, I wish we had that extra guy. So, if you're talking in the off season, that can be a conversation. And hell, trading Pat Freiermuth in the off season, that can be a conversation. But why do it now when you're trying to win? If we were 1-4, not 4-1, that's a different discussion. Because now, are you gonna try to push? Are you gonna just say screw it, the season's over? Like, how are you trying to play this? But you're not. You're, as of me recording this, you're the number 2 seed in the entire AFC. The Bills lost to the Patriots, and you're the 2 seed behind the Indianapolis Colts. Just how everyone saw the conference going, obviously. But that's just the thing. It's like, why do it now? It doesn't make sense to do it right now. And that's the thing. If you want to do it in the off season, get a couple, whether you're doing that for draft picks or you're using it to move up to try to get a quarterback, it's like, okay, like, I can understand that. I can understand doing that. Like, that's not my issue. Like, I'm not so like, no, you can't trade these guys. I'm just, no, you can't trade them right now. So yeah, Herbig, amazing. Jalen Ramsey, amazing. 2 sacks in the game. Both when he blitzed, probably from the slot, I would guess. But, I think Dylan Gabriel was sacked, 6 times? We have 77 pressures in the last 3 games we've played, which is kind of wow. Like, that's what? God. What was that? Maybe 24 a game? Somewhere in between 24 and 25 per game. That's a lot of pressures. And that's if I was rating that right, because that just seems like an insane amount of pressures, right? Though, I do know that Nick Herbig, and I heard this today, Nick Herbig has 8 pressures in a single game twice this year. He is one of 3 players this season to do that. The other 2 are Micah Parsons and Aiden Hutchinson. So there are 3 players in the NFL who have 8 pressures in 2 different games this year. Like, that is absolutely insane. That is unbelievable. So, and then Myles Garrett. I'm going to talk about Myles for a minute. So, as far as I'm aware, Myles Garrett had 1 solo tackle and 2 assisted tackles for a total of 3, right? He had no quarterback hits. I think he might have had a pressure or 2. Like, he might have had a couple pressures. I would say no more than 3. I don't know his exact stats, but I would say no more than 3 pressures. I know he had 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits. And while they gave Darnell help on some plays, there were other plays, or Darnell. Broderick. Wrong former Georgia Bulldog. Broderick. While they gave Broderick help on some plays, there were other plays that he was on his own, one-on-one versus Myles. And sometimes he got beat. Other times he held his own. And that is great. So they shut down Myles Garrett, which is fantastic. They took shots deep. There was the one where Aaron underthrew DK. And then there was the one where they actually hit on the touchdown. There was one throw that he hit Connor Hayward on that touchdown. And it was a great throw. You know, he's moving right, trying to direct traffic, and just bing! Just whew, like a flick of a wrist. And it's like, wow. So, and then you have, let me think. Who else do I want to bring up? I mean, the running game, God. And that's a mix of the running backs and the O-line. And I do feel like the offensive line as a unit, yeah, guys are individually getting better, like Broderick. Like, he seems to be just getting a little bit better each week. But, like, the line as a whole seems to be getting more chemistry to the point where it's like, okay, now we start seeing, you know, some good blocking and communication, and it's like, okay, now here's what we're doing with this and what we're doing with that. It's like, you know, it seems like they're starting to gel a little bit, and just the team as a whole is starting to gel. The defense is starting to gel. Like, what game was it? I think it might have been Seattle. I think it was Seattle. We played 5 DBs that game who had defensive snaps. Like, I think Jabril Peppers played, like, special teams, and I'm sure James Pierre probably did too if he was in that game. But, like, out of all the DBs who played defensive snaps that game, not a single one was a Steeler last year. Not one. It was like Juan, probably Chuck. Who else would it have been? Jalen, Slay, and Eccles. Those were the 5. And not a single one was a Steeler last year. Like, But now it's, Joey's back. Elliott's back. And you're starting to get that little bit of chemistry. Like, Harmon's healthy again. So it's like, okay, now our D-line is a little more whole. Our linebackers are playing well. I've said this. This is not Madden. It's not. It takes time. And one more thing before I end this. And this is to, the O-line. Aaron's time to throw was his second highest of the season. And his depth of target was his highest of the season by a whole yard. Which doesn't seem like a lot. What's a yard? This? No. What's a yard? This maybe? You can't even see it on screen. Like this or something. I couldn't tell you exactly how far a yard is. But it's what's a yard? Well, a lot. When you're talking about, the course of a game. You threw, 30 times, completed 21 of them. So on those 21 throws that were completed, if your average depth of target is a whole yard, you got another 21 passing yards. But is that 21 yards just meaningless? Or is that, hey, that extra yard meant we got a first down? Hey, that extra yard made it so it was 3rd and 4, not 3rd and 5. And it's okay, on 3rd and 4, now we ran it and we got 5 on the play, or we got 4 on the play. Whereas it was 3rd and 5 and we run it and it's 4 yards, we're punting on 4th and 1. So, they're improving. And I've said this, and I will say it again. They're not a finished product. They aren't. They weren't a finished product weeks 1 through 6. They're not a finished product heading into Cincinnati for Thursday Night Football week 7. They're not a finished product. They are going to continue to try to get better each and every single day. And what I say, if you get 1% better each day, the season is 4 months long. You'll easily hit 100% if you just get 1% each day. So that is it for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, please do leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.